Hello. I thought I'd look in and read a little bit more out of Villa of Secrets because I've been so busy actually. I've been writing. I've got 3 books in the pipeline now. So there's some big news coming soon. And that's all I can say. So what I'm going to do is a little reading out of Villa of Secrets, which was written about the island of Rhodes and was my second book. And it also made the Sunday Times bestseller list, which I'm very proud about. Okay, so Pandora is a young Jewish girl who escaped the Holocaust here on Rhodes, and she keeps a diary, and she's 15 years old and very small for her age, so but very sensible. So the local Andartes, the freedom fighters, are using her to do various jobs. And first they're sending her away, and this is this part of the diary extract. Sunday the 13th of August, 1944. Dear Diary, I'm sorry it's been over a week, but I have been so busy with Kapitanos Nikos that I haven't had a chance to update my account of life in the bamboo grove. I moved my things to a small cave because I am afraid of my books getting wet, and that's where I am now. The Kapitanos has gone to get fresh supplies, and so, for the first time since coming here, I have a few hours off. Under Kapitanos Nikos' supervision, I practiced cleaning and firing the gun. In a narrow gorge that was once a river, I spent hours and days at target practice. Nikos always speaks quietly but forcefully, repeating the same orders. Arms straight, Dora. Bend your knees or you'll fall on your behind again. Concentrate on the sights, not on the target. The target will go out of focus, but you can still aim for it or follow it if it moves. Squeeze. Breathe, Dora. Yesterday, when we took a break, Nikos taught me about the local wildlife, which somehow made me feel closer to Irene. I longed to impress her with my newfound knowledge. There are terrapins and fish in the water here, and snakes and scorpions in the cracks and crevices. Dozens of bird songs to memorize, and insects so bizarre they seem pure science fiction. At first I was afraid and repulsed by many of these creatures, but Nikos' enthusiasm is contagious. Each has its place in nature's scheme, and none will hurt you unless they feel threatened. Follow me and I'll show you something special, he said. We climbed up above the shooting gallery, which was what we called the deep gorge where I practiced. Loosely coiled on a whole wide flat rock was the biggest snake I've ever seen. She's sunbathing. I call her Jezebel. She's a big whip snake, 2 meters long, Nikos whispered. Lives on mice, lizards and small birds. Isn't she magnificent? I gulped, both thrilled and horrified at the same time. The snake lifted its slender head and seemed to sniff the air. Aware of our presence, she slipped away into the vegetation. Early evening, Thursday the 17th of August, 1944. My heart is still thudding as I write this. If it wasn't for the quick thinking of the Kapitanos, I'd surely have been captured by the enemy soldiers earlier today, and perhaps would be dead by now. I want to go home. I mean really home. Our lovely house in Spartili Street in Paradisi Village, and then go inside for Mama's rich and wholesome food. I don't want to be an adult. I don't want to have responsibilities. And more than anything, I don't want to be alone and afraid. I wish I had not written that. I've blown my nose and dried my eyes, and I have to say that I'm sorry I sound so weak and pathetic. But the events of the day were exhausting. I want things to be the way they were before we had to move into Papa's shop in Rhodes Old Town. I want to play hopscotch in Spartili Street with Irene under the streetlights. It all started when Tassos came, rushing us through the groves. Nazis, he said urgently. all around, searching for the 2 missing soldiers. We scarpered, stuffing every trace of our existence into small caves and covering the entrances with piles of vegetation. Nikos led me to a waist-deep lagoon surrounded by thick stems of bamboo. Stay underwater and hold yourself down against the bamboo. He gave me a short, hollow cane. Use this as a snorkel and don't come up until I tell you, he said. Petrified, I didn't hesitate and plunged under the surface. I had no idea where Tassos and Nikos were going to hide, but I guessed they'd be doing the same as me. At first, I couldn't see because we'd stirred up the creamy sediment, but as it settled, I became aware of dozens of soldiers' boots. The Germans marched past only meters from me. Small fish panicked and darted over my face, flashing their slithers of silver, quickly hiding amongst the bamboo stems. A terrapin paddled right before my eyes, lifting its snooty nose out of the water to take air before diving to the bottom. When the minnows emerged again, jostling playfully, I knew the danger had passed. Minutes later, I recognized the bare feet of Nikos. He hauled me up. Tassos is ahead of the soldiers, but he's gone into the gorge to remove tracers from the target practice. It's a dead end, he'll get caught, Nikos whispered urgently. I'm going up the hillside to fire a couple of rounds, cause a diversion. Tassos, the shooter, had saved my life. I owed him. I ran towards the shooting gallery. When the backs of the soldiers came into view, I slipped into the water and swam around them. I climbed above the mud tunnel, thinking I might start a landslide so that Tassos wouldn't be trapped by the enemy in the dead end of the shooting gallery. I scrambled up until I was 6 or 7 meters above the troops and the gorge. The sediment had settled and I could just make out Tassos under the shallow water below my bullet-ridden target. The Germans were about to enter the gorge, heading straight for him. I glanced around for loose rocks but found none. Peering down over the ledge below, I saw Jezebel raise her elegant head. I grabbed a sturdy length of broken bamboo, lowered it, and flicked the 2 meters of heavy snake into the ravine. Sorry, girl. There were several screams, a lot of swearing and splashing, and then a mass exodus of soldiers from the bamboo groves. Villa of Secrets. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. That's all for me tonight, and I'll speak again when I have more news about my books. Bye for me. Bye.